Hello, adventurers. How you doing?
Hello, DM Dan.
Hello, Dan.
Hi. Hello, you beautiful creatures and creaturettes. And hello,
us?
you beautiful creatures and creaturettes at home. Or maybe not home. Maybe you're on like some international spy mission, like Anton is regularly.
Maybe you're out on
Or
your
you're an Uber
delivery.
driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're out on your delivery.
You know, biggest audience to blue drivers.
We all good?
Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing.
I'm okay.
The confidence. Yes, we've got a Carl back.
Well, you've got something that resembles a Carl. I don't know if it's the same thing you had beforehand, but we shall see.
the hollow husk of a new dad. But clearly loving every moment of it. Well, glad you're back.
Oh, I am. I am loving every moment.
You'll be happy to know that in your absence, all hell broke loose.
Oh, I've seen. You know, I've seen.
Didn't do too bad.
Oh, you caught up?
Almost, but I've caught up enough to see
Oh,
the disaster caused and how you need a Comstock as a babysitter.
Yeah.
That is true, though. We do need Daddy Comstock.
we don't have to.
Well, yes. Now that we have Daddy Comstock amongst our number, and this will be his name henceforth. Who would
Really
like
won't.
to jump back in and say hello to
Go
Daddy
on, then.
Comstock in character?
Oh, come off.
Do it. Yeah.
Yes, Father Comstock.
He's not a
That's
religious
worse.
man.
The world has been broken and remade. Our civilizations are shattered, our people divided. Yet there are those who would rise up to challenge the encroaching darkness.
Hi, my name's Carl. I'm playing Sir Carmichael Comstock in Lorivar Cavalier Fighter.
Hi, I'm Meg. I'm playing Addy, a keeper druid bard.
Hi, my name is Anton, and I play Victor, a Lorivar Gloomstalker Ranger.
Hi, my name's Lane. I'm playing Milia Sayralast, an Asavar Divine Soul Sorcerer.
My name's Tim, and I'm playing Galena, the Terran Sprite Alchemist Artificer.
And my name is Dan. I will be the Dungeon Master on this adventure. Whilst our world has been changed, we band together. Hope bright in our hearts. We push forward to reclaim what was once ours, and we shall be known as the Explorers of Elsewhere.
Ever since dragons tore the world apart with their magics of their bitter infighting, many of the peoples of Elsewhere have had to band together in acts of defiance and bravery in the face of newly formed dangers that surround them. These acts of bravery are sometimes conjured by the courage of one individual against all odds, but more often than not, these valiant displays are a necessity in order to protect those around us whom we love and cherish. However, there cannot be bravery without fear. Fear of loss, of failure, of betrayal. Tales are sung of those who have overcome their fear, but sadder stories of those who succumbed to it are too numerous to count. These tragedies are passed round as lessons to those who might fall afoul of the same circumstances. Then there are those who, when presented with their fear, realise it comes from within them, a deep-seated fear that they've already lost. And so, we find you all in the town of New Prosper, the expedition-led settlement that has sprung up. It's approximately just over 2 weeks old, on the edge of a very unusual cliff. Formed, you suspect, there's a freak occurrence of the eschaton. Some time has passed since the four of you, Victor, Addy, Galena, and Milia, returned from your trip to Ekabosdir. It's been a day or so. But whilst you've been taking the time to catch up with Comstock and Haladradis, who are currently acting as sort of advisors to Davin Dram, the expedition leader, and now in inverted commas mayor of New Prosper. But as we haven't heard from him in a while, Comstock,
Hello.
what has Comstock been doing over the past few weeks, past few days, so on and so forth?
I think once the town was founded, his main effort was to obviously ensure that everything was secure. I think he was working on training of the guards, getting them a bit more as an actual sort of group of guards with a bit of a hierarchy to them, but just focusing on getting New Prosper protected and looked after. He probably was a little bit absent from the rest of the party, like occasionally sort of seen marching around, barking orders, offering nods of his head where he could, but he mainly caught up in sort of quiet times, so sort of sharing meals and stuff. But yeah, he's been busy keeping New Prosper safe.
Sure. Over the past 2 weeks, were there any particular conversations with any of the other explorers that you had? So whether
Yes.
the characters or NPCs?
The first is I imagine he does. There are rounds that go around the night. They make a loop of the town, checking how everything is. Comstock to show solidarity with his men will occasionally do one himself. And I imagine sort of one night he's walking along and sees Milia.
Yep, sort of like sitting on the cliff edge, looking out to sea.
And given his attire, I don't think he's quiet on his approach. There's that soft clack clack of armor. The sort of shuffle of his sword in its sheath as he's... Lady Milia, what are you doing out at this late hour?
Oh. Just thinking. Nothing more really, just thinking.
A copper for your thoughts?
Look back to the town. Note that we're kind of almost completely out of earshot and just pat the ground beside me.
He awkwardly, sort of, with a bit of a grunt because of his age, sort of, like kneels down, swings his sort of legs over, like adjusts his sword belt and funks his shield in to give a bit of support as he sort of then releases it and reminds me of the lakes of Hugerstadt, just looking out over the water. It's a good view.
Yeah, it reminds me of home to an extent.
Yes, your home was on the sea, was it not?
It was the city of Glasmere.
That's it, Glasmere.
I was thinking again, just every night that I look over the waters, she takes the book and just looks at it. I could throw this into the water. I could end this burden on myself, but I can't. Even though I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. I'm never going to see my family again, and I've had to accept that, but...
Mind me asking, and feel free to put me in my place if it's overstepping, but why don't you just cast it into the sea?
Have you ever had a thought or just a realization that when you're in the middle of doing something maybe, and in this instant, if you mess it up, something very bad is going to happen,
I
If
do.
this book gets too badly damaged or destroyed, something's going to happen. Something incredibly bad.
I see.
I knew that when I first picked it up, and yeah, so I could. And the burden would be off of me, and I could live my life.
Lady Milia, I feel we have all been skirting around the issue for some time now. But what is so terrifying in that book that where a little bit of leather is torn, you look like the world is going to end? What is it in these? You don't know?
I don't know.
So you're carrying a book around with you, afraid of something that may happen, but you're not sure what may happen?
No.
Hmm.
All I know is that terrible people were doing awful things. They did awful things to me. And this is what they were following.
Just going to jump in. Comstock,
Mm-hmm.
if you so wish, roll me an insight check.
I will happily roll insight for an 8.
Continue.
I assume, Lady Milia, that well, the assumption is there. The book is clearly important that you keep it safe, so on my word as a knight, I promise to keep you and the book safe, and should anything happen to you, I will take this book into my care.
Thank you.
And I will ensure that no one lays a hand on it. Even if I have to remove said hand.
It's funny. You remind me of my parents in a good way, I promise.
I was never one for children myself, but thank you, I suppose.
If in your travels with the explorers, if you ever come across Glasmere, whatever has or will become of it, tell my parents I miss them, okay?
Do you one better. I'll make sure you get to.
It can't happen. It can't. It can't happen. Just being around this book is going to put them in too much danger. I can't see them again. I can't.
You have a very short memory, Lady Milia. I did just promise to protect you no matter what. That offer extends to your bloodline. If you wish to see your parents again, you need only ask. And if anything gets within a foot of that book, I will ensure that they will regret the decision. I'll make it my mission to get you home one day, Lady Milia. You can tell your family yourself that you've missed them.
Thank you.
My word as a knight.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
As the conversation peters off, and the two of you kind of look wistfully out into the deep blue reflective sea that that stretches out in front of you, listening to the sounds of the waters crashing against the shore below. Fast forwarding, in a similarly dark but peaceful night under a starry sky, Addy, you approach the stone structure partway between New Prosper and Ekabosdir on the night that you arrived back from the Wolfkin settlement. Do you have a torch with you? It's quite dark. The moon's not full or anything, but
in fact, what I've done is I have used my druid craft to make the appearance of small fireflies, which are currently circling the end of my staff.
okay. In which case, as you kind of ascend up this kind of craggy hill to the stone structure at the top, and it is large enough that the moonlight illuminates it, but you can see it's a somewhat it seems to be the overall structure seems to be triangular in nature, made up of a number of kind of standing stones, some of which have toppled, but you notice as you kind of get towards the crest of the hill that the flora around the area just seems to be a lot more lush, a lot more vivid and lively compared to some of the thicket that you've seen elsewhere. And you see Elmin, the young keeper from Ekabosdir who you met earlier that day. He sat with his back to you, and he seems to be just idly skipping stones off the ground, just like skimming them across, and then picking up another one. He seems to have a small pile on the standing stone that he's currently sitting on, the toppled standing stone he's sitting on, and he's just dashing the stones across the floor. But as your hoof kind of crunches on some undergrowth, he kind of turns quickly to look over his shoulder at you, and when he realizes who it is, he visibly relaxes. And in Verdant, he says, "Thank you. I didn't know if you'd come or not."
Of course. It was my idea after all.
He nods. Sometimes I find it easier to talk about the things that matter to me most when I'm away from the village. It can be the Wolfkin are a hardy and reliable people, but they can be quite one track in their approach to life sometimes.
Brash, right?
Yes.
Yes,
If it can't be solved with a shout and a flurry of fists, then perhaps it wasn't something worth discussing, as far as they're concerned.
Our Frinker back at the camp is very much the same. Our heart's in the right place, though.
He smiles. I've been thinking about what you said. I'm quite shocked that your Crove was it?
Yes. Name of my tribe.
You didn't have a world spirit.
No. We didn't. The elders of our tribe assured us that they were communing with the spirits, but they never spoke to us as a general population, you know, as a general tribe. They certainly never spoke to me. And well, thing is, we were quite isolated, deep within the forest. We rarely saw anyone at all outside the tribe. And then when the eschaton happened and the wild spirits came in droves, and suddenly reports started coming in and things started changing around us. As you can imagine, it threw our tribe elders into quite an unfavourable light, and the tribe divided. Totally divided. Myself and my parents went one way. We broke off into a smaller group, and I was, I don't know, half pushed, then half volunteered myself to go out into the world and find what was happening, because we were all left in the dark. But you've seen a wild spirit yourself.
Well, yes. But Colorado and I have spent quite some time together. At least almost a year. But well, I've known Colorado ever since the Great Divide, and I you know, it's strange. I don't even really remember my life before Colorado. I feel like the spirit is my life and I am it. It's a powerful bond.
You're complete.
Perhaps. So it's hard work, though, to continue to be complete. And I feel like now that Colorado is suffering, is ill, I feel like I'm not really doing enough. I don't know what's going to come of me if something were to happen. I was hoping you might have some experience with your own spirits to help, but even so, perhaps a second opinion would be handy.
But I will do anything I can.
Omin nods. Colorado is a shy entity. It doesn't approach many people freely. For all of their protection of it, Colorado still hasn't revealed itself to the Wolfkin of Echabosdir. But I have a good feeling about you, Addy of the Grove.
Thank you.
Elmin nods. But you can see that there's still like a deep sadness behind his eyes, especially when he said "off the Grove."
So many questions to ask you. I don't know where to start.
Start with the first.
Do you know about this stranger and his song?
The stranger The stranger has appeared to me ever since I was a boy. No one. It seemed that no one else in my tribe could see him. They all said I was crazy. They said I was a little Elmin with an imaginary friend. Which is daft. I mean, we worship all sorts of imaginary friends now, don't we? But, yes. I call him the stranger because that's all he really is to me. But ever since I had to leave, the stranger has been appearing to me, and I don't remember what happens when I see him, but I feel like he's leading me somewhere. He led me to Ekabosdir. But even he couldn't stop Korolharu getting hurt or becoming ill. And every time I see him, I hope I can reach out to him to ask for answers in case he knows something to do with making a world spirit better, but
Disappears?
disappears.
Same for me. I haven't told anyone about him back at the group because I wouldn't know how to explain. How do you explain someone that you don't even remember properly? And that no one else can see, obviously.
Yes.
Strange though, because you said about him leading you somewhere, and I feel like he seems to have led us together.
Maybe he has brought together two keepers far from home.
Brings you so far from home, Elmin?
Yes. As I say, I've been at Ekabosdir for about 6 months, but I've had to travel for quite some considerable time before then. There was my home. It was devastated during the Great Divide. There was some armies just rolled through, and I mean we didn't really, we knew what was going on, but we could never have imagined what was going to happen. And before we knew it, magics between the leaders of these two armies had all but leveled and everyone was I had to leave that night, and I thought I was alone, but I thought that was it when the world itself began tearing itself apart. But then that's how I met Goroloro. Goroloro guided me to safety and became my traveling companion. We roamed to the lands. Goroloro always seems 1.5 steps ahead. And sure enough, after many, many months of wandering, here I am.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear about your home. But I'm glad that I've had the opportunity to meet you. It's not... I mean, I'm still very much learning about the world outside of the tribe, but it's nice to meet a kindred spirit, shall we say.
Elmin nods. And he kind of looks up to the starry night. He takes a deep breath, and I should probably be heading back. Was there anything you wanted to discuss before I left?
Horoloro.
Hmm.
What can I do to help? I do want to help, and I have no doubt that if you think it appropriate, my companions would also love to help. Not just you and the world spirit, but this camp. You know, we do come in good faith, even though some of them are a bit rough around the edges.
Elmin chuckles, and I appreciate the gesture. It seems that your sprite friend might have had some ideas about whatever ailment was affecting the townsfolk of Ekabosdir, and I feel like the torpor, the slumber that Coroloro is currently in, and whatever's affecting the villagers of Ekabosdir, I can't help but feel that they're related somehow. So, yes, if I will speak to Kagekna and the others, and if we have need of you, we will reach out. But again, I appreciate the offer. Thank you, Addy.
You're welcome.
Elmin kind of sits up straight, sticks his chest out to kind of, you hear a kind of crack in his back. And as he stands up, he thinks for a moment and then turns to you. He reaches into a pocket, and he pulls out what looks like a slightly dry-looking leaf, and he holds it out to you. It doesn't look much, but this is a leaf from Coroloro's glade, and I feel it would want you to have it.
Thank you. It means a lot.
Elmin smiles as you take it, nods his head, and until next time, Addy of the Crove.
Until next time, Elmin.
And Elmin stands and looks at you for a moment, and then turns to leave. And you see him disappear into the darkness as he heads down the hill back towards the east, and you know where the village of the settlement of Ekabosdir lies. You make your way back to New Prosper, and are you waltzing in? Are you sneaking in? How did you? Under what pretenses did you leave this midnight trip?
I think I would have tried to have gone stealthily.
Okay.
But I'm going to try and stealthily re-enter, but not before taking the leaf that Elmin offered me and adding it to the collection of flowers and seed pods and other little collectibles tied to my staff.
Okay. As you begin to make your way back, and it's further back to New Prosper than it is to Ekabosdir, but irritatingly, over the first half of your journey, you notice that the temperature starts to drop quite rapidly, and a strong wind starts blowing through. And approximately halfway home, the stars start to blink out as dark clouds roll over, and you hear a rumbling on the horizon. And far too soon for comfort, you're caught in what seems to be a really heavy and torrential downpour, punctuated by loud cracks of thunder and lightning. To the point where when you finally make it back to New Prosper, you are sodden. You are seemingly wetter than when you fell into the sea earlier that day.
Great.
And as you kind of miserably trudge through the forests to the north of New Prosper, as you get to the boundary of the town, just behind the lumber mill and knock and box blacksmith, you see a held lantern in between the two buildings, and the silhouette of a hooded figure watching you approach. And as you approach, you see that you recognize the telltale glint of one eye watching you as Comstock watches you enter back into the town with his little hooded lantern and hood up over his head.
Addy?
Oh. Hello, Comstock. What are you doing up so late?
He looks around. May I borrow you a moment?
Of course. Can I, do you mind if I go grab a towel first?
As you say that, you jump a little as this huge crack, this peal of lightning splits the sky, and the boom hits you a few moments later.
On second thoughts, let's just
outside for a while yet, so a towel will be a moot accessory right now.
Fair enough.
A cliff overlooking the sea. There's an amazing view of the storm. Would you please come with me? And he doesn't even quite wait for an answer. He just blows out the lantern and just watches the silhouette walk towards the cliff edge.
He follows.
I never really know who to talk to about this, as my whole life I was raised on the belief of the dragons and how everything is because of them. And then the Battle of Hulderstadt happened, and I saw the storm there. And I imagine as a crack of lightning goes off, he sort of looks at the sky, but it's not out of fear, it's like awe, as he just looks at like the flash and then waits for the roll of the thunder. I remember you saying that your village believed it was talking to the world spirits, and that your village had never actually interacted with them. Am I mistaken?
Well, the elders are the ones that supposedly interacted with them, but I am not entirely sure that was very truthful. Exactly. Maybe they thought they were talking to them, but I don't know. Recent events.
Understandable. I've been informed of your encounter recently in the other village. Adi, I don't know what to think anymore. My faith was shaken that day at Hulderstadt. And every time I see the lightning flash, every time I hear the thunder crack, I see it. I see it in the sky. I hear its roar again. The storm bear it follows me.
What? Comstock, I may have not seen or interacted with wild spirit myself, but back in my tribe we were always taught that If a great deity, if a great world spirit is reaching out to you, then the least you could do is listen.
Would you like to listen with me?
Of course. Of course.
I find it unfair, you know.
What do you find unfair?
Everyone I know is decent people. You're a good friend so far. I'm sure some of you make fun of me a little bit, but over these past few weeks I consider you friends, and I find it unfair that you, who believe so deeply, and me who doesn't believe at all, that I hear its voice and you have yet to. I'm hoping at the next flash you'll see it. And I hope at the next roll of thunder you hear it. Because you deserve to.
As the two of you look out over the sea, Addy, you kind of look up expectantly, and the rain seemingly starts to slow, sort of like starts to relent. As the clouds, the thunderhead seems to be kind of moving past and over, like over towards the sea. And as you, like, as your shoulders drop slightly, it's nothing. Like the storm just seems to have quite literally passed. There's a deafening boom. So there's one final crack of lightning, the light of which illuminates the clouds in such a way that for the faintest of moments, it seems like there's a large bear roaring to the night sky. And then as the lightning disappears, it just returns to a standard cloudy night.
Thank you. To both of you.
All Addy can do is nod, and in that moment is glad for the rain because it hides her tears.
The two of you make your way back to your kind of respective spots. And just to get you in on the action, Galena, Victor, are there any things that you kind of go through in the night of this horrendous thunderstorm?
You go ahead, Galena.
I don't think I have much on, really. Busy with the same old, I suspect.
Work in your lab late one night.
I mean, that's the best time to work in a lab with mysterious bubbling tubes is when there's a thunderstorm. Best time to
Let me guess,
tackling.
Galena has a roof that opens on her little lab.
Yeah, you just see her running around with like long metal poles and stuff, and just like don't worry about it.
Any suspiciously stitched up corpses under tarpaulin on the table?
No, that's someone else.
That's the side project.
Haven't seen Haladradis in a while.
Galena, based on what you've seen today at Ekabosdir, and this kind of ailment that's affecting the settlements, sort of like the seeming draining of magic mana from the villagers, what, like, are there any kind of new theories or hypotheses or experiments you want to look into for either their benefit or perhaps your own?
Yeah, I think I'll have had perhaps some... I'll probably have like a little beetle or something, just some sort of small living thing. And also a collection of just like rocks. And I've put small enchantments on all of them. Just like making them glow or making them like hum a bit or whatever, nothing too important. And I put them in a box with some crystals to see whether or not any of that magic ends up in the crystal or vice versa. I want to see whether or not there's any transference of the magic either from or to the crystal.
In the presence of the crystal, the enchantments seem to get slightly more powerful. Like
Okay.
it's feeding them.
So what's stripping out the magic the other way then?
Which precisely, it's very odd that, and I mean this tracks, right? Because mana crystals are used in inverted commas as power sources. For example, Victor's rifle uses a very specific mana crystal with which to create and fire blasts of arcane energy. So the act of, and mana crystals as you've seen them naturally propagate and spread, insinuating growth rather than reduction, like draining. So whatever is happening is very odd.
It's very odd.
I mean, because you notice that the hue of the crystal, the hue of the glowing rock that you've got, they just become brighter. They become more saturated. That is the inherent power of arcane magic. But you think back to Garmin, the young scout's mother, and her skin was bordering on grey and translucent, where the colour, she'd just become so desaturated. She was almost monochrome.
Where's that been going? Interesting.
As you muse on that, Victor, were there any... what's he doing late at night on this stormy night?
Victor is out in the woods in this stormy night, and he's got cowl, hat, rifle in the hand, and he is been most of the evening frantically searching throughout the woods, trying to pick up in the lightning flashes and amidst the rain any signs, any tracks, anything, and he's just been darting around the woods. And go, Yakov, where are you, Yakov? We'll find you. And he's just been repeating this over and over in his mind. But essentially finding nothing. And there probably comes a point in the evening where he finds himself by a cliff, and he says to himself, Helena, I'm sorry, Helena. I am not sure I will be able to do what I promised, what I set out. I've tried my best, but there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee. But know this, we will be together in the end. That I know. And he'll just look up past the cliff, probably into the sea, and just wait there for quite some time.
And Victor, you stay on the cliff, kind of looking out to the sea. You're only shaken from your musings, from your thoughts, when you notice the sky overhead, like the storm has stopped. The storm seemingly has rolled past, and the deep blue black sky overhead starts to shift into a purple, pink, and orange as the sun begins to rise over the sea in front of you. And you make your way back to New Prosper. It is clear that quite a few people have had seemingly a bit of a rough night. The lightning, like the storm that rolled over, disturbing quite a few. But spirits seem somewhat kind of high and perky regardless. And before long, we find the five of you, begging pardon, Comstock as well.
Hey, I'm back.
We find the five of you.
Matt LeBlanc, I'm back, GIF.
Gathering together outside the town hall. And Comstock, it looks like Comstock's going to be joining you on this mission, as you've decided amongst yourselves that the next task on your to-do list will be to investigate the odd crystalline growths in the forests to the northwest of the town, of the village, and you all notice that Milia now has the tome that she's been carrying affixed to what appears to, it almost looks like a backpack on her, with some metal chains kind of wrapped around to secure the book to this kind of leather harness. You all notice that Victor looks slightly damp, slightly soggy, but perhaps it's the shadow from the brow of his hat, but his eyes look a bit sunken compared to normal. Yes, player Carl.
Question. Comstock's finally putting on those boots he picked up from the Time Temple. I still don't know what they do. They are quote unquote
meant for walking, Carl.
They're going to walk all over you.
Well, not quite correct. The four of you, so Milia, Addy, Victor, and Galena. Yes, you notice that Comstock is joining you, and it seems like the closest word you could use for it is Comstock appears to be peacocking. Just sort of like standing in such a way that you always get a look at these shoes, which you notice are remarkably more shiny and silver than the rest of his apparel. Sort of like much more lustrous in their shine. And Comstock, over the past fortnight, you and Knockenbach wanted to try it physically, but Haladradis instead just rolled her eyes and cast Identify on them. And you remember the smirk on her face when she informed you that these boots improve your ability of springing and striding.
Haladradis,
Nice.
you'll have to explain a little better. Springing and striding.
Yes, she explains to you. Boots are springing and striding and springing even. You'll find those in your character sheet. But while you wear these boots, your speed isn't reduced if you're wearing heavy armor. In addition, you can jump 3 times the normal distance.
Oh shit.
Well.
And as you, she kind of raised an eyebrow, and I think you'd look a lot lighter on your feet. I think you'd look a lot lighter on your feet if you wore those, Comstock. Maybe you can get up in these corners and get the cobwebs out.
You can definitely get up into the roofs a lot easier. Good vantage points up there.
Precisely, she says, and you can tell that she's trying to like stifle a laugh, and Knock and Bock are just like, "You what? They make him jump better? Ugh, sounds rubbish. And the two goblins kind of stomp
Knock!
off.
Knock and Bach, before you
What?
go.
Yeah.
Think about what happened recently. How much better would it have gone if I could have jumped higher? Might have been able to save you a little earlier.
Well, they turn, they look you deadpan, and then their eyes slowly roll down. If you hadn't skipped leg day, you might not need those, would you, Grandpa? And the two goblins sort of look to each other, they high five one another, and then wander back to their blacksmith whistling.
Fire damage to Comstock.
But yes, Comstock, you now have boots of striding and springing.
Thank you. It's been like how many weeks? They just already just learned what they've done.
The group of you begin making your way in a northwesterly direction. So into the trees at the north of the town, and you notice with every passing day the trees are kind of retreating as the lumber mill gets busy with sort of like chopping the trees down and turning them into lumber for the growth of the town. And are there any conversations happening between you as you go? Any little pick-me-ups?
I think just as we're walking, I'm like, right, now, I've been over this, but one more time. Do not touch the crystals. Do not lick the crystals. Do not inhale the crystals unless directed by your specialist. Is that understood?
We have a specialist here?
I'm the specialist there is.
Galena, I'm glad that you have finally taken this sort of advice, because I remember in the Temple of Time, we were somewhat grabbing every crystal.
Oh, I'll still be doing that. I said
You're
you don't
allowed
touch
to
the
lick
crystals.
and touch the crystals. Just we're not allowed to touch or lick the crystal.
I know what I'm
Correct.
doing. Don't worry, Comstock.
I trust you. I
Look,
trust
would you
you
want me
implicitly.
would you want me to put the tackle on your horse?
The last horse you made it talk, you made it spit acid, and then it died horribly.
You're right. I'd be very good at it.
As you're saying this, Halajardis wanders over and no horses for this one. We're still trying to. We're still recovering from the last time, but also you're heading into the forest, and we don't know. It wouldn't be the best terrain for horses, as we understand it.
Sorry to derail, but I've just realised in town there is a perfect place for a statue for Mr. Dribbles. That large rock pile there, we just need to chip it away into
in the middle of the ocean.
It's only a matter of time. You can't escape
Mr. Dribbles
this.
Memorial.
Yes, I
It's
can.
happening.
You can't escape this
It
way.
is.
It's
It is
like
happening.
Can we use mold earth to make a statue of Mr.
Yes.
I can do
I
a
mean, sorry to
temporary one.
derail.
It'll be made out of dirt, but we can use that in the meantime while we get the proper one, like a Mount Rushmore-sized one, carved in.
No.
The five of you begin to kind of make your way out of New Prosper. Addy, you hear a and as you turn around and Horse of Bear just kind of glumps over to you. He's clearly eaten something recently. You're not 100% sure what, and it worries you for a moment before you think, well, whatever it is gone now. It's in a bear.
Poop.
And Davin Drown was never seen again.
But yes, it would appear that Horse the Bear is joining you on this adventure.
Yay.
And you begin heading north-northwest. The journey itself, it's difficult because you're just kind of trailing through forest. You kind of head through the forest that forms a perimeter of New Prosper. You cross over some relative flatlands, but the hills that kind of roll up either side of you kind of adds to the eerie vibe of the day, as you notice that it's somewhat more chilly, it's quite overcast, and as you begin to head down into what appears to be some sort of like a valley, you begin to descend into quite a thick fog. And like as you go through, you can see the forest that you've been directed to, kind of in amongst the fog. But you push on regardless, and before long, you find yourself following a path through this forest. But Victor, you're feeling a bit wary as you realize you struggle to see more than 30 feet in front of you. And as you look around, like peering into the white the ground clouds that surround you, Galena, you notice just slightly up ahead on the right hand side of the path you're on, there is a bluish purplish glow coming from what appears to be a tree. And as you approach, you notice that the bark of the tree is almost slate grey in colour. The bark seems to have, for all intents and purposes, crystallized. And as you look up, you can see that the leaves overhead are not the colour that leaves should be, and there is a distinct discolouring spreading around the ground around the tree, presumably kind of radiating out from the roots. But as you all kind of take a look at this weird grove, let's grab a break.
Sweet.
Okay.
See you in a bit.
Yeah.
This will make so much more sense after the stinger. Please, just like and subscribe.
Welcome back, everyone.
Wasn't expecting that, but beautiful.
Just had to get
Oh, thank you.
a bit of a run up for that one. You right? You all good?
Yeah.
Yeah, good break.
Beautiful.
That was a great stinger. One of your best.
Yeah. Hopefully.
I think it was the best so far.
Thanks. I appreciate
We are setting up for a fail now because he's going to have to create like
absolutely
the best stinger.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
let's make it more awkward. It was especially great because it featured me specifically doing a specific thing.
It featured all of us, which I think is a first. The fact
And
it featured all the explorers.
That
Right.
like choreographed dance
And like
was
the animation was
just-
so smooth as well.
Wow.
I don't think I've seen you do like that kind of.
The fact
was
it
also
went
quite
for
funny.
like 20 frames per
Yeah.
second. Like
Then
the
when
fact he
Anton started breakdancing, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, on a bicycle. Wild.
all with Hero Forge figures. I mean, it's
Mhm.
incredible.
I don't know how you got that picture of me though.
Yeah, well, saw those cameras in your bedroom.
You sent it to all of us, Lane. Come on.
No, I
Yeah.
didn't. I only sent it to Dan.
Yeah, on the
Yeah,
group
Dan
chat.
sent it to all of us.
You shared with us.
Well
Anyway.
So,
Yeah,
Dan, we
serious
just planned your
roleplay.
next stinger for you. Come on, mate.
for sure. We find ourselves in the forest. Victor, looking down at your map, which isn't the greatest map you've had, but it's the rudimentary map that's being added to by scouts as the days go on. But this map, this forest, due to, you presume, the petrification of the trees, and Galena, you can see it appears to be not just standard petrification, but a crystallization almost. but this place is being known as Crystal Spine Forest.
Mm.
Okay.
So, as you kind of follow the path, Victor, you're kind of ahead as the scout, but you're wary that you can only see approximately 30 feet in front of you at any given time.
Yeah.
But Victor, what is it that you're doing?
I will, look for tracks. Scanning ahead. I guess we're looking for trees, right?
Sure.
I'm
So,
gonna get my tremor sense going as well.
Sure.
I'm staying close to Comstock.
Staying close to Comstock. So you now have tremor sense, Galena. So you should be able to see things in the fog. So you can see that there is a small tree to your right, just off the right side of the path, right from Victor. So it is a smaller tree, but you can see that the bark itself seems to be glowing ever so slightly. The fog is obviously making it a bit difficult to see. Everything's coming off with a slightly kind of white or ghostly pallor, but the ground around this tree seems distinctly kind of like blue, light purples in hue, very similar to the color of the tree's bark as well. And looking up, it's difficult to make out in the canopy in its entirety because of the fog. But the few kind of leaves hanging from low-hanging branches also seem to have taken on a distinctly kind of pinkish, purplish hue.
Galena! Wait, you think this is one of them trees? You know, one of the magical ones.
Looks to be.
I mean, it's blue and shining.
That's
So
why
maybe
you're
it
our
is.
scout, Victor. Amazing. Yeah, I'm going to start collecting some samples.
Sure. Galena heads up to one of the trees. Milia and Comstock sticking together. Addy. Horse seems to be making some kind of disgruntled grunts and grumbles. Just as his head kind of swings from side to side, it is like kind of looking like sniffing, and as much as a bear can pull a bad smell face, it's clear that Horse isn't entirely comfortable with what's going on. But what do you do?
Can I cast Speak with Animals to find out a bit more about what? Oh, sorry, am I about to sneeze again?
Pineapples.
No, sorry. Yeah, can I cast Speak with Animals to see what's on Horse the Bear's mind?
You can indeed.
I can. There we go. Do the thing.
Okay, so as you kind of cast a spell, I would assume that it's something that you're doing relatively regularly now with Horse, getting to know him quite well as well you can with a intelligence 2 bear.
He's a very good boy.
But yeah, as you cast Speak with Animal, like the noises that's coming out his face start to kind of morph and change. And he sounds like he's saying, bad. And the horse looks up. Horse looks up to you.
Bad where? Bad how?
Bad smell. And he begins sort of like clawing at the ground, and the ground seems quite crumbly under his paw. Bad smell.
Direction.
The bear kind of tilts its head and just sort of like looks around the fog and just sort of swings its head around slightly.
Everywhere. Okay. Stay close. Be safe.
Yeah, makes a couple of disgruntled grunts again, and then kind of steps up with you. Victor, Galena, so you're at this tree, and in the shadow of this tree, and sure enough, yeah, I say the bark is crystalline. Are you just kind of attempting to scrape some off here?
Yeah, so does it look like the tree itself has entirely just turned to crystal, or are there any like crystal projections coming out of it as well?
So it looks like the tree has crystalline growths up and down its trunk, but from those, what you can, on most of them, you can kind of make out where like an initial growth sprouted, and then it just seems to be spreading from that area.
Okay.
But certainly, as you, so give me a survival check.
Oh boy, I don't think I'm very good at those. Let's have a look.
Or actually, you're handling arcane crystals. Give me an Arcana check. I'll be kind.
You're a very kind DM.
Okay.
What's that do?
So,
17.
17. So you gently kind of get one of these kind of growths, and you wiggle it, and as it kind of pulls away, it leaves what is effectively a crater in like a hole in the side of the tree, and you can see that the wood inside is going through the process of crystallization in some parts. It's from a medical perspective, what it feels like what you're holding is almost like a tumor. But yeah, you can see bits of sort of like the wood inside is quite sappy, but the sap is discolored. A bit, it looks a bit kind of runnier than it should, but a lot of it is then, you know how like when old honey starts to crystallize and go kind of cloudy, you notice that the sap's starting to do that, which then gives away to this, what you're holding a chunk about half the size of your head.
All right. I'm going to be handling this with gloves.
Sure.
Which is quite rare for me.
So, Comstock, you and Milia can see Galena tinkering with a tree.
Remember not to lick it.
You can see Victor kind of stalking on ahead.
That was to Galena, Milia.
Oh.
Bit of flashback humor.
Yes. What's where are you two going? What are you two doing?
Imagine Comstock's keeping an eye on Victor, because obviously it's foggy. Obviously knowing that Addy's got Bear looking after him, but he's kind of hovering between Victor and Galena, knowing that Milia's not far away, and trusting in Bear and Horse to do his job and protect Addy. But yeah, he's trying to look through the fog. It's ridiculous. It's unnaturally thick. Do you agree, Victor?
As you say that, you don't get a response.
What?
Can I see his shadow in the fog, or?
Victor, you turn to where Victor was, and he's not there anymore.
Oh no.
Okay.
Huh?
Did you just move me, or did that just?
Victor's ghosting you.
As you turn to look to see where Victor was, and your brow furrows, you hear some laughter coming from the north, I should say. It sounds like a group of people laughing.
You may not be alone.
you turn to look to sort of like Galena Milia, and they're not there. The laughter, there's a period of quiet, and then there's another burst of laughter.
Comstock reaches into his bag and pulls out a torch and strikes to illuminate one.
Okay. The torch.
And he holds up in his shield arm, holds the torch in the air.
As you hold this torch alight, it colours the fog around you with orangey hues, but doesn't kind of pierce the fog any further that you can kind of see through it. And looking around, where did everyone go?
Oh shit.
He stubs the torch out, perhaps hefts his shield up, cracks his neck. Okay then.
Victor.
I've had it.
Yeah.
What do you do?
So I'm in front of the group, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm just going to be looking out in front and trying to listen in, see if I hear any odd noises in the fog.
Sure. Roll me a perception check.
Okay. Perception. Normal. 21.
You hear, like, you kind of look around, and it's almost impossible to see through this fog. But you hear someone call your name. Victor! Off to the northwest.
Can I start going that way?
Mm.
Yeah, I'll start going that way. Northwest, towards this way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do I hear it again?
You hear the like sounds of movement, but
Yeah.
You can't hear it anymore. And like you've strayed away from the path a little bit, but what do you do?
Victor will stealth. So just try and hunker down and stay quiet.
Okay. As you hunker down, you see like a shape move between one tree to the next, like further up ahead.
Can I see what it is?
It's difficult to make out the shape. You just see the blurry silhouette as it moves between two trees.
We'll move forward a bit more. He'll head back to the group.
Okay. As you fire your brow and you turn around to report back, you don't know where anyone is. Everyone's gone.
Oh dear.
Milia.
Footsteps.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
go
me.
ahead.
You've been following Comstock. And you stopped for a moment to look to see what Galena was doing. And when you turned back, Comstock was gone. And when you turned to look to where Victor was, Victor is gone.
Oh no. Oh. Hello?
Are you saying that just out loud or?
Yep.
Okay. You say hello out loud, and you know that like Galena's just over there and Addie's just behind you. And when you shout out and turn to look, you notice no one's there.
Damn.
Uh-oh.
You appear to be on your own.
Oh no.
And
No.
as you kind of look around, begin to panic. Galena,
Mm-hmm.
you've just managed to. You've got this chunk of crystal. You're looking at the tree.
Put it back.
You turn to look, and you notice. Oh, like Comstock, Milia, Victor must have gone on ahead.
Mm. Okay. Do I still see Addy?
Addy must have gone on ahead as well.
Honestly, no time for so. I didn't think I'd have to tell them to stick together. Okay. But I put my hands to the ground. Do I feel them?
You do not.
Okay. Right.
And as you
Something
turn
ain't
around,
right.
you find yourself turned around a little bit as your tremor sense doesn't seem to be working. But as you kind of finish looking around, you take a moment and realize that your surroundings look different than what they did a moment ago.
Oh, it's a magic forest. Okay.
Addy,
Gonna cock my crossbow.
what do you do?
Okay.
Just me and Horse the Bear, isn't it?
It's just you and
on our
Horse the
own.
Bear. Like you watched as the fog. Like you could see Galena working on the tree. You could see Comstock wander off. You saw Victor and Milia wander off. And as you roll your eyes, you turn to look to see where Galena is, and you watch as a wall of like the fog thickens between you and Galena, and then when it passes, Galena's gone.
Okay. As a being who has lived most of their life in the forest, is this something I've seen before?
Roll me a nature check.
Nature check. Oh, I haven't done one of those in a while. Ooh, 20.
Nope.
Whoa!
And as you kind of head up
Clearly
the
that was
path,
DC 50.
as you like, you've never known something like this to happen. But as you kind of head up the path, and sort of like you can hear the huffs and grunts of the bear alongside you. You realize, yeah, everyone's gone.
Yeah. First thing I do is put my hand on the scruff of the neck of Horse, and assuming that we're still under the 10 minutes of speak with animals, going to communicate to Horse to stick close to me. You know, don't let me out of its sight.
You, like, as you kind of look around and you reach down to touch, grab the fur on the back of Horse's neck, you
That
realize
horse.
he's gone.
Ah, damn it.
Oh no. Okay.
Forever.
Comstock.
Have to create a new, yes.
You hear another burst of laughter. It sounds like some sort of conversation. It seems like someone's just cracked a joke. And they're met with rapturous laughter. Raucous laughter.
Have at it then. I don't have all day.
As you look in the source of the laughter, you see three figures, kind of stood in a small group, and they seem quite relaxed, and they're just sort of like one of them's like waving her arms, like her hands around, and the other two are stood in front of her with flagons, and she's saying something, and these two men are just like full on kind of belly laughing. The fog kind of obscures their faces slightly, but as you peer closer, the woman with her back to you, with her brunette hair tied in a relatively tight ponytail, she turns to flick her ponytail over her shoulder, and you recognize it as Carla, your
Who's
commanding
Carla?
officer.
Oh.
Captain?
And as you say that, the fog parts slightly, and you recognize that the two others in front of her were your fellow soldiers, Helver and Branad.
That's not possible.
And get this, he thinks he's actually a knight. Oh, it would be comedic if it wasn't so sad. And as Carla says this, the two men look at each other, they snort, and they, you're right there, and they take swigs of their drinks. Oh, he's such a naive fool, isn't he? Well, I mean, he was never the sharpest tool in the armory. It was never the sharpest sword in the armory, was he? Was he, Captain? No, bless him. Oh, he's got to have a hobby, though, hasn't he? Yeah, he's got to have an hobby.
Oh. This may just be my greatest fears coming to haunt me. And he leans down to one of the apparitions. But I remember you cried when you got your certificate.
Roll me a wisdom save.
17.
Nice.
It's probably not enough, but
Okay, 17. As you lean over the shoulder of Carla and you say that, the figures seem to stop, and then it's almost like they're turning to regard you. Addy, as you look down at the spot where Horse the Bear was, and you feel that kind of that panic rise in your chest, you hear the sounds of a twig snapping up ahead. And as you peer up the path, you see crossing it 3 tall, lumbering figures striding through the forests on hooved feet, their horns rising proudly from their foreheads. And you recognize them immediately as 3 of the elders from the Crow, Glenwyn, Fury, and Kemmer. They seem a lot more finely decorated than they were when you last saw them. They seem much more jovial and high-spirited. And a Glenwyn, Fury, claps a Glenwyn on the back and very well done, Glen. Very, very well done indeed. Tell you what, I never thought we'd get rid of her. Good riddance, I say. Kemmer nods, and I mean, let's be honest, she was just a drain on the resources, wasn't she? Just floating about with her daydreams. What do you do, Maddie?
On hearing this, initially, Addie is confused because she's not quite sure who they're talking about. Until they mention the daydream. And that's something that her mother used to always call her. The little forest daydreamer. And then it strikes her that they're talking about her. But then she remembers that the Grove is hundreds and hundreds of miles away. She has come a long, long way from home, and there's no way, absolutely no way, there could be any of the elders this side of elsewhere. And in fact, she also knows that she's not even sure if those elders are still alive. And so she casts protection from evil and good on herself.
Ooh.
Okay. Roll me a wisdom save.
Before or after I cast the spell?
After. With advantage.
Okay. Wisdom. 24.
Respectable.
As you concentrate and you channel the primal magics into you, what does your protection from good and evil look like?
As usual, Addie takes the sort of focus of her magic, which is the sort of end of her staff, and she whispers into it. And once again, the seed pods open, and this time they emit little spores that surround her in this sort of ethereal green glow.
Okay. So as you're surrounded by this ethereal green, this ethereal emerald light, the figures, the three keeper elders from the Grove kind of stop in the road, and they turn their heads as if they are about to regard you. Galena. You find yourself alone in the forest. What do you do? Sorry, you're tremor sensing, aren't you?
Yes.
You feel a ping. You feel a vibration coming from. It's difficult to say, but it's your left. You've
Right. Cautiously head that way then.
as you make your way in that direction, you see stood in the bough, like the shadow of a very large crystalline tree, a young Terran Sprite girl who you've known for her whole life.
We
And
burn this forest down.
your daughter looks to you with a somewhat disapproving stare. What do you do?
How dare you do this to me?
Do what, mother?
Not you. You can't be here. How dare you be doing this to me?
Your voice seems upsettingly echoless as you shout out into the void. And a small voice follows it. It's you that's not here, Mother. We don't need you anymore. We fixed it on our own. We did what you couldn't. We cleaned up your mess.
I think she just sits down. And I'd like to fail any wisdom save, please.
Okay. You also failed the wisdom save. Victor,
Yes.
you have turned to see, turned around to see Comstock and where Comstock and Millie and the others are, and you found that they are not there. When you've turned back, it seems that the forest around you has changed. And you can see a glimpse of a shadowy silhouette kind of skirting around the edge of your vision in this fog.
Hello! Show yourself!
The figure stops wandering around the perimeter of your vision and turns to regard you.
Victor raises the firearm.
I had always thought so highly of you, Victor. But in the end, you were just as much a disappointment as all of the others. And through the wall of fog steps your wife.
Elena.
I thought you would have the strength to save me, Victor. How wrong I was. You can't even save yourself. Pathetic. Look at you, running away like a scared little boy.
You're right. What you're saying is true.
And what will you do now, Victor? Will you keep running as those around you die for your incompetence?
Do you still love me?
Oh, Victor. Of course I don't.
Then there's no point me being here. May leave.
Roll me a wisdom save. With disadvantage.
Holy shit. Where are the saves? They are here. Wisdom, saving throw, disadvantage. Let's go. 10.
Okay. The figure turns to regard, looks to you, and slowly begins shaking her head. And Milia.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
The book comes towards you.
A giant book waddles out of the fog.
Oh, hello there. I'm the book.
Blah, 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 Pac-Man.
You've kind of followed after Comstock a little while and realised that he was gone, and you find yourself looking around the forest alone. What do you do?
I'm trying to stay as still as possible, and I'm panicking.
Okay. You see through the gloom 3 figures approach. and they get close enough that you recognize them as Zia, TA, and Platinum. Your mother, your parents, and your old business partner / first love. And this group, this trio kind of see you, and their faces look shocked, and they rush towards you and they embrace you. Oh, Milia, I thought we'd lost you. Where have you been? We've been looking everywhere for you.
I had to go. I'm not sure. How did you get here?
We've been looking all over for you, and we paid a lot of people to come find you, and now we found you. Ever since you left Glasmere, we've been searching every day for you. We're so glad you're safe. What are you doing here?
I'm helping people. We set up a town. I'm helping to lead the exploration into the world that was sundered. Are you both okay? Platinum?
Platinum, your old Wolfkin business partner, places a hand on your shoulder, and of course we're all right. Of course we are, Millie. We're just glad that we found you. We've been looking high and low for you. Ever since you went missing, we've been out of our minds with worry. But now we found you, we can go home.
Where is home? Where is it?
Tia responds with, "We're going to Glasmere, obviously. We're going home. You'll be safe there."
Where is it?
Glasmere?
Yeah. Where is it in relation to here?
It's right where you left it, silly.
What?
Just come with. We'll show you the way. We'll take you home, and then we can get back to where we were. We can carry on. There'll be nothing to worry about.
Go with you.
Yes.
I can't.
Why, Millie?
I don't want to hurt you. I don't want you to get hurt.
Your mother Zia, places her hands on your cheeks. And, oh, Millie, don't be silly. You could never hurt us.
No, it wouldn't be me. It wouldn't be me. They're following me.
Who's following you?
They're going. The people that I escaped from. They're gonna be following me. I gotta let them know you exist. Go, please.
Your 3 family members give you little sad looks, and Millie, it's fine. Just come with us and we can protect you.
You have to go. This is how I can protect you. You have to go.
Millie, you need to come with us.
I can't.
Millie, we're not asking. And you see the shadows on their faces darken. They distort slightly. You need to come with us.
No!
Make me a wisdom save.
I'm trying to find it on the sheet. Saving throw. No.
Oh, the tension.
I actually cannot find it on the sheet. Am I just...
If you
just click wisdom, then it'll give you an option for save.
Okay. 10.
You feel
Subtoss Eddie.
you feel the panic and the anxiety kind of pressing in on you. It feels like it's crushing your chest. And you hear your mother say one final once again, "Come with us, Milia."
I cast spiritual weapon.
As you cast a spiritual weapon, your parents and Wolfkin business partner scream in frustration, but it's an unearthly scream. And as you're bathed in the bluish green light of your shield as it rises up above your head, you note that it pierces through the gloom surrounding these three figures. And the figures distort and rise, and their faces become almost porcelain mask-like. These three figures rise up in tattered robes with what appear to be vicious-looking sickles in one hand and long, writhing, animated whips in their left, on the top of serpent-like bodies. And in under the shadows of their cowls, you see a half black and white smiling porcelain mask. Milia, say your last. You're coming with us. And we'll call it there.
But can we rename this
What a
forest,
one to come
Dan?
back to.
This is the sad forest.
Sad forest.
Can we rename this forest Future Bonfire?
Oh my god! What's that like? Is it the Never-Ending Story where he goes into
The swamp of the marshes of sadness, or whatever it is. Swamp of sadness.
Yeah.
Well, this is it. We're
Marsh
in the
of
marshes of
Despair.
sadness.
Yeah.
There we go.
What? That's horrible.
Yeah, that's.
I'm gonna go to sleep now. This is.
I know you weren't.
Congratulations, everyone,
Hooray!
on completing session 10.
This music is terribly inappropriate.
Yeah.
Now we're
Nice.
all
Whatever
and we're
these
all
creatures
depressed.
are, they are going to suffer an unimaginable fate for fucking with Galena, Victor, Addy, and Milia. Like, no one fucks with my team. Like,
Oh boy.
Comstock's back, and he's gonna go to fucking war.
Well, hopefully so. Yeah, we're going to see what's going to happen off the back of that. Before then, thank you all for playing. Thank you all for watching. If you liked what we're doing here, we release stuff like this very, very regularly. And if you like this, you should hit the like button. You should comment on... what should we comment on? How sad this forest made you on a scale of 1 to sad.
Yes.
Marvellous.
Oh god, is Horse having his own little sad bear dream?
Oh yeah, what happened to Horse?
Horse just has like a good berry that's just constantly outreach.
no.
He's reliving his time with the bandits.
Oh no,
He is.
no.
Yeah?
Yes, as I we release content like this very, very regularly, so you have loads of stuff to choose from if you like this. What you should definitely do is subscribe and hit the bell icon for notifications of when we're releasing new stuff, because not only are we doing these actual plays, we're also doing a little fortnightly live stream.
Hey,
My
Tavern's
goodness.
back, baby.
Tavern is back, so we will sit around and we will talk absolute nonsense for an hour, and you can ask us questions, and we'll add that to the nonsense bin.
Need a bloody tavern after all that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
absolutely.
next time we could do Explorers of Elsewhere, fuck, marry, kill.
Well, you just need to put the question, come to the Tavern Between Dimensions, put the question in the comments, and if we have time, we'll answer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how
Exactly.
it works.
So, once again, thank you all for playing. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
See you later, everyone.
Bye, love you, bye.